How's it going? I'm SÍODA. Welcome back to the Lab Void. Today's problem is this: I need background music for this channel. So far, I've been pilfering my renders folder and grabbing whatever feels like it would fit in the current moment, but a lot of the stuff that I found that way has been annoying to use in one way or another. They might be too short or not mixed very well, stuff like that. So this week, I want to take a couple of tracks that have potential and make them a little bit nicer to work with. That means it's time to pull up the fruit. Here we are in FL Studio. This is a background track that I used in the previous video and I liked it a lot, but it just wasn't long enough. Then it makes a very good platform that I can speak over. That's really what I'm going for here. I'm not going for something that would be very useful as its own, like as a standalone piece of music, but something that would be great as background tracks, which is kind of a new thing for me. I don't usually make stuff that's like this. Now, the usual structure when you're doing something like this is to create a B section. So it's something that's sort of similar to this, but maybe uses a different chord structure or different instruments. In this case, we might just be able to get away with duplicating the instruments minus the drums. It needs something else here, but yeah, this is absolutely workable. You'll notice throughout my work here, music, specifically this software, is by far where I am the most confident. You won't find me struggling too much with the interface or like workflow stuff in FL Studio. I do have a launchpad. It's not with me at the moment, but I actually find it easier to just manually key in all of the notes. Okay. Oh, I don't know about this. It wants to go there, I think. And the melody that's already in the bass is... Don't know if I want to... That sounds like it might work. Let's give that a mixer track. Layer it with another square wave that's an octave above. Hardware doesn't support pulse waves, but this is another way of doing that. Yeah, look at that. It's not quite a pulse wave, but it's got the same sort of shapes as it. Okay, we'll turn you down so that you're... There we go, that's more in line with the rest of the sound. I don't know if lo-fi... Not quite what I'm thinking. Wait, I wonder if Trash would work, actually. Trash is actually a plugin that I have never used before, so we'll see how that goes. That's sort of working. I'm gonna add also... This is All Pass Phase by Enum. It is a clone of Kilohertz Disperser that is free. Wait. There we go, give that a nice sort of smoother... Wait, yeah, what if it is just Oh, it's totally just I just wanted a fucking sine wave. Oh my god. That sounds so stupid without the plugins. Okay, what if we add this here? It's got too much weird stereo stuff now. I wanted to always have that little snap at the beginning. And the way that you do that, something similar can be achieved with a very, very simple little pitch envelope. So we want it to land on the correct pitch and then start higher. It's a different effect for sure, but it's more consistent. And it also allows the effect from this to come through more clearly. And again, because this is just background music, I really can get away with stretching this out a load. To put it into context, that took me about 20 minutes to make that sound. That's not too bad, actually. Okay, so I've muted the bass instrument in this section afterwards. And I think it does help to add to that sort of suspended feeling of the whole thing. And over here then we can actually, what I can do is pull in this. Yeah, okay. And then I already have this breakdown right here. So I can literally just copy this over to here. And then the sidechain ghost, I'm gonna have to just like that. And then everything comes back in here. And again, because this is background music, I can get away with duplicating big sections like this. I need to keep on telling myself that because I'm so not used to it. Okay, obviously it just cuts off at the end. but that's fine because this is designed to loop anyway. How long is it altogether? 1:37 minute and a half. That is like fine. I think the average section in the video is shorter than that, unless it's a very long one. I think having something that's like, you know, a minute and a half long is pretty good in terms of helping me with pacing as well. If this turns out to be cope, then that's fine too. I can come back in and I can make a longer version again. Music is a bit of a love-hate thing for me at the moment. It's what I'm best at by far, but I'm actually so used to the tools at this point that I've kind of stagnated. My standards for what's good are quite high, and that makes me very demotivated when I try to finish something because I'll often spend ages making tiny tweaks to the output and not really knowing when to call a piece done. So that's why this is a useful practice for me. Sometimes a track doesn't have to have an ending or be perfectly mixed to be good or useful for the purpose I need it for. It's okay to let things be a work in progress. Anyway, on to the next one. This one I featured in last episode as well. And I think I could definitely do something with this in terms of making it into like a 2-minute loop. I could, like I made this loop 2 years ago. I could go and find the project where I made this loop and make a new version of it. Or I could just resample the loop some more. I think I'm just gonna resample the loop some more. Hang on a minute. Whoa, hang on. I'm finding some crazy grooves here. Wait. But like also just like this. That's a crazy hardcore track right there. Okay, I'm getting distracted, but that's crazy. Ooh, there we go. Okay, what happens then if I just like do that? Okay, that's a little crazy. The latter part of the sample is not as interesting. Your lesson here is that if you have a cool sample loop, you can probably just chop up and rearrange the parts and you get another different really cool sample loop. Go on, we'll put the fucking snares in as well, why don't we? What about later? What about we leave these out for now? These need to be a different instrument. Maybe, okay, maybe I'm getting like really boring here. But honestly, just let my vital skin, it clashes so badly with the rest of my DAW. I love it. Okay, let's just make this a trans chords stack. Yeah, let's do that. Let's try that. This is giving me like Eric Prydz. This is so intense. Okay, sidechain you, turn you down. Okay, we need a low pass you. Like that, and just automate that all the way up here. Then that goes to 0.8, and then that's sort of something like that. It's so thin, I love it. No, it doesn't fit at all. It's too crispy. There we go, that's better. I'm gonna do something really stupid here. Yeah, baby! Okay, I can use the same EQ I used with the filter sweep to also do EQing stuff. That's not the worst idea. That's where I want that to live. This bass is just like so... It's so dense. It's very, very difficult to... Yeah, I can make some space there. Okay. And that, again, that's a section I can loop quite easily. Okay. I'm happy with that. Let's render that as well. And that's another tool in the box. This one I'm going to use in the more intense segments. You know, something's going down when you hear this. But what about the less intense segments? So far I haven't really done anything that's particularly upbeat or chill, but after a bit of digging I found something that might just fit that bill. Okay, I'm gonna mute the Chainsmokers acapella from this, but hear me out, right? Now, this is very 2015, but why do I feel weirdly compelled by this? Let's add a bass line, something simple. There we go, something nice and thick like that. Da 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 da. Okay, give them a bit of a release there. Too much? I just want to declick it, that's all. And maybe they can be actually a lot shorter. Although I do like that. What if I could do a little like random pan? Ooh, how would I do that? I would do that with a peak controller, and that would be random LFO, and turn off the peak detection entirely, and then like that. And then it needs to be way faster, like 2 steps? 1 step, really? That can go into the balance parameter of the balance, LFO, and then we can just do like input times we'll say 6, put that in brackets, and then to center that we add 0.2, and you can see that squishes this line a little bit, so it doesn't pan it hard left or hard right, it'll stay somewhat centered. You can also hear it's like sometimes catching in both ears at the same time because this has a little bit of delay on it. So what I can do to offset that is to just move this phase backwards a tiny bit. Perfect. And then I can turn you way down because it's not like a super important part of the mix. All right. I think this is perfect. I think this is just like this tiny loop. I think I can literally just render this as is. C.mp3 wrap remainder, please. And then that can just be a loop. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this one, actually. I had forgotten about this project, so it's a nice little extra thing to have. But I didn't stop at that. Was there anything else that I immediately knew I wanted to do? Well, I played one chord over and over and now it sounds cool. What's that? It is what it says on the tin. Let's open up the outro song. That was the other one that I wanted. So this project I'm already pretty happy with. I think the main thing that I would like to do with it is just make a version of this section at the end that is half the length that it currently is. Hang on a minute. Did I not make this version has a 138 BPM, but the version that I've been using in the videos is not that. It's a lot longer. So now I'm wondering, oh, I did make a different project for outro song. There we go, okay. Yeah, that's 124. And again, this is the shorter version, so this, actually the end chords go here. You don't repeat, none of you repeat. And you hear that delay tail? That delay tail has been bothering me a lot, so I'm just going to, oh hey, there's already a volume automation. Why is it just not... Now, hang on a minute, can I even hear the delay though? You can hear the delay. I think it's not a huge loss to get rid of it though. If I can just turn it off and it's not a huge detriment to the sound, I think I'd just rather do that. Can you tell I'm a fan of the deadmau5 chords? I only ever use them in background music stuff like this because, you know, my more intense stuff doesn't really have a place for it, but they're pretty nice and stuff like this. And honestly, those little modifications are all I really care about with this song. And so we reach the end. As with all my videos, I like to make something for the gallery at the end, so here's a time lapse of me doing that. And this time around, I'm actually recording the voiceover before making the art, so I have no idea what it's going to look like, except that I want to include a spectrum visualization of each piece of music in it. Through the power of cinema, though, you should be seeing the end result right about now. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to see you in the next one.